Magaling na talaga kayo magsulat noon pa.
Feeling ko lang. Marunong ako magsulat.
Pwede ka palang gumawa ng pelikula without having to go to work for a studio.
Nabasa niya somehow yung utak ko because nagtugma din sa akin nung pinanood ko siya. And I was truly inspired.
Nagkaroon ako ng crisis na parang communications ako pero na-feel ko na wala pa akong mako-communicate.
Yun. Ganda naman ang set. Hi, Mr. Reed. Hello, Dustin. Dodo. Maupo kayo dito sa aking tahanan.
Hi, guys.
Beshi.
Okay, ipinaghanda ko kayo ng kape.
Mainit pa.
Oo, mainit pa. Para mag-warm up muna kayo. Alright! Welcome to today's episode of Behind the Reel. My name is Gretchen Ho. And today we'll talk to some of the most brilliant minds in Philippine screenwriting. As we do know, screenwriting is one of the major secrets to success in any film, in any episode, in any form of content. And today we have storytellers who have shaped narratives that resonate with Filipino audiences. We'll talk about their journey, the challenges they face, and how the changing landscape of content creation is shaping their craft. Ang unang tanong ko po sa inyong apat, ilang kape ang naiinom nyo sa isang araw?
Dami.
Dami.
Depende kung ano yung sinusulat.
Okay, simulan natin muna sa ano po yung work ninyo that you're proudest of. Let's start with Sir Dodo.
I suppose my favorite would be my first film, Violator, which is now going on 11 years. I wrote and directed that in 2014. So, yun pa rin ang feeling ko, the thing that I need to match. Part siya ng Cinema One Originals in 2014. So, and ngayon nasa, iTunes.
Bakit yun ang paborito?
Well, because it was my first as a director and also as a writer. Plus, 10 years on, ang dami pa rin kasing tao na lumalapit sa akin, even just last year, na they just saw it for the first time and it still resonates with them. So, hindi ko ina-expect na ganun yung reach niya as a film. So, I'm kind of hoping I can do that more often. Pero
Kaya naman, Dustin?
Probably yung film ko from 2023, yung Ang Duyan ng Magiting. Kasi it's a film na nagkaroon kami ng opportunity na complete creative control. And ito siguro yung film na masasabi ko na ito yung ako talaga, na ito yung type ng film na gusto ko gawin, na panoorin, na very tahimik lang, tapos madaming conversations, kasi yun yung entertaining for me.
Saan pinalabas itong Duyan ng Magiting?
Pinalabas to as part of the Cinemalaya Film Festival noong 2023, tapos ngayon, I'm not sure, pero nasa Viva One yata, sa pay-per-view. So they can watch it there as well.
Kaya naman po, Miss Noreen?
Yung script na naging pelikula, I think ang favorite ko or feeling ko the best feeling, ang galing, to date is yung Guilty Pleasure na nasa Netflix ngayon because hindi lang siya basta drama or romance, but then mayroon siyang ibang theme about women empowerment. But then, the best script that I have written ay hindi pa napoproduce, and this was the script that won me a Palangka.
Wow!
So, feeling ko hindi na siya mapoproduce kasi makakasta siyang i-produce. But then, yun yung tingin ko best kong nasulat.
So, nag-aantay kayo ng tamang...
Supposedly may magpo-produce na, pero mahirap kasi siyang i-produce dahil period film siya.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Kayo po.
Ako naman, sorry, hindi ako makapili eh. Dalawa siya.
dami,
Ah,
no? So, hindi ka makapili. Hindi siya kagaling. Ang dami
Hindi,
ng best
explain ko kung bakit
script.
hindi ako makapili. The first one is Mayohan, which is also shown sa Cinemalaya noong 2010. It's an independent film. So, for me, iba kasi yung spec script. Ibig sabihin ng spec script, sinulat mo siya nang wala pang producer. So, I would say I was able to write the script in its purest form. And I was also able to collaborate with Direct Dan Villegas for the first time. It was his directorial debut. And it also won us several
Nice.
trophies sa Cinemalaya. It was also my first Best Screenplay award. That's why it's very memorable to me.
What is it about?
It's about a provincial lass played by Lovie Poe na more or less outcast siya dun sa society niya. Yung expectation ng probinsya sa isang babae, nilalabag niya. Iyon. Kaya it was very interesting kasi ang connotation usually ng isang provincial lass ay yung konserbatibo, mainhin, pero si Lovie po hindi ganun. So I was able to delve on sexual politics. So it was very interesting for me to be able to discuss that topic through a narrative. And the second one is Walang Forever, which was my first foray sa mainstream. It also won for us another collaboration with Dan Villegas, the Best Film and also the Best Screenplay Award, and several other acting trophies. So, iba kasi yung nagagawa ng isang pelikula na maraming nanonood. Yun. Kaya, for me, parang, finally, merong audience na madami na nakaka-appreciate sa work.
Ang sarap sa puso, ano. Pero madalas nyo kinakwento yung buhay ng iba. Punta naman tayo dun sa buhay ninyo. Simulan natin kay Sir Dodo.
Ako malayo yung pinanggalingan ko. Nag-start ako kasi nag-fine arts ako in college. So I was either preparing to be a painter or a graphic designer. Tapos nag-ad agency ako. Kasi yung tatay ko ad agency. So immediately inisip ko yung pera. But it was also sort of my first love before. Tapos hindi ko inisip yung cinema. I loved cinema as a kid growing up. Pero hindi ko siya inisip na pwede ko siyang tahakin kasi ang impression ko is magsa-start ka from the lowest position and move yourself up. And the only options that I thought were open to filmmakers were studios. So medyo malayo yung babiyahihin. And I wasn't shortchanging myself naman sa agency. Pero hindi kasi nawala yung itch to make films or to be part of cinema. So I became a film critic by default in a way or by accident. And then I started to meet a lot of independent filmmakers at that time. And suddenly the world opened up to me. Na parang pwede ka palang gumawa ng pelikula without having to go to work for a studio or network.
Yes, kasi nung time na yun, nung year 2000, na-democratize na rin yung filmmaking.
Yeah. Pwede kang gumawa ng films using a camcorder. And yung film critic phase ko was only sort of activated kasi nabasa ni Alexis Choseco yung blog ko and he put me and a couple of friends of mine, si Ogs at si Chard, on his wish list. And I met a lot of like the filmmakers at that time. So that opened itself.
As in camcorder, yung ganun?
May mga ganun film na cam, yung consumer cam.
Naging
Na ano.
accessible na talaga.
Yun ang pinakamaliit na camera kasi dati yung malalaki talaga, no?
Yeah.
Oo.
Yes.
And
Digital
in fact, yung as an aside to that, yung sa Violator, I actually shot a sequence using a VHS cam. Tapos, inano lang namin sa screen.
Kayo, Miss Noreen?
Ako kasi creative writing ako nung college, pero hindi ko pa alam kung ano yung form na gagawin ko kasi pwedeng fiction, pwedeng poetry, pwedeng prose, non-creative fiction.
Magaling na talaga kayo magsulat noon pa.
Feeling ko lang, marunong ako magsulat. And then, ang ano talaga sa akin, parang yung catalyst.
Wow.
Yung ano is,
Big
napanood ko yung May Minamahal ni Joey Reyes. Tapos parang, ay, parang gusto kong maging writer because of that movie. Gusto kong maging script writer because of that movie. Akala ko ganun lang kadali. So, pagka-graduate ko ng creative writing, apply ako sa ABS. May mga workshops yung ABS-CBN may workshops, may mga mag-submit ka para sa, nung time na yun, ewan ko naabutan mo yung Flames. Alam mo,
Flames,
Flames,
yes.
yung afternoon soap, so
Sa ABS.
nagpa-call for submission sila. Lahat ng pinag-applyan ko, hindi ako tinanggap. So, feeling ko, baka hindi para sa akin yung script writing. So, nag-corporate muna ako. Nagsulat ako ng iba, nagsulat ako ng technical manual. Alam mo yung manual na kasama ng mga appliances. Walang nagbabasa, kami ang nagsusulat noon. So, kailangan mong aralin, So, ang dami. Tapos, nagbenta ako ng bahay at lupa. Ang dami kong una pinuntahan. Tapos, feeling ko, okay na ako, corporate na ako, meron na akong writer pa rin ako, pero yung writer ng para sa mga OFW. Alam mo yung, nagsusulat sila ng problema nila, tapos nagbibigay ako ng advice. May website na ng OFW eh. And then,
Ikaw nagbibigay ng advice.
bilang
Tanong
no, Ate
Ma'am
Vicky,
Charo?
may ganung
Anong
pangalan.
Anong
Ate
pangalan?
Vicky or something. Kasi, yung nauna kasing nagbibigay ng advice, matanda na, nag-retire na, nag-resign na, so kailangan nila ng bago. Kilala na siya ng mga OFW, ng mga seafarers. So, kunwari ako pa rin, ghostwriter ako, nagbibigay advice. And then, habang ginagawa ko yon sa corporate job, nakita ko na merong announcement sa news na ABS-CBN is looking for, script writing workshop, comedy workshop. At alam mo kung sino yung nagpapa-workshop?
Sino?
Si Joey Reyes.
Shout out po kay
yung
Direk
dahilan
Joey.
na parang gusto ko maging scriptwriter, magpapa-workshop. So, sumali ako, kasama ako sa workshop, tapos,
Kilig na kilig po kayo.
sobra, nakita ko siya nagsasalita, yung starstruck ka, tapos biglang mag-offer siya. Cherise, I love you, Direk Joey, kung nasan ka man.
Ngayon, besties na kayo ngayon.
And then, tapos, eto nga, sa workshop na yon 20s kami, hinandpick niya ako para mapasama sa show niya.
Wow!
At alam mo, ang full circle doon, ang first movie ko na rom-com, siya ang director.
Ang galing.
So, never siyang nag-direct.
Ano po itong movie?
No Boyfriend Since Birth. Si Carla, tsaka si Tom Rodriguez. Tapos, si Direk Chewy kasi, di ba, written and directed by na siya. So, hindi siya talaga nagde-direct na hindi niya sinulat. So, the fact na nag-trust siya, pero siya din naman kasi nag-mentor sa akin. So, feeling ko, diba? Oo. So, yun.
Ikaw naman, Paul.
Ako, I was a philosophy major sa Ateneo.
Ay, parang si pinsan natin, si Mark Pasco.
Yes. At wala akong kamuwang-muwang pa na magiging filmmaker ako because I was just focused on writing poetry. I was a member of the
Poet ka pala.
literary organization ng college, which is Heights. So, napapublish yung mga tula ko and I get to join workshops, literary workshops, writing workshops. And doon ko na-meet si Francis Passion.
Kilala ko yun.
Yes.
Oo.
Si Francis Passion, batchmate ko, who founded the Loyola Film Circle. Unfortunately, he passed already. Pero nung time na yun, we were really close. He introduced me to the world of cinema because he read my poetry. And merong isang poem na gusto niyang gawing short film. At naging voice-over yon ng film niya. It was his very first short film that was also recognized sa Gawad CCP.
Wow.
And yeah, and it was entitled Luwad. Ang naalala ko pa, ang first line ng Luwad is, ang kamay, ang bahagi ng utak na hindi nakikita. And he was able to interpret it in such a way that I didn't expect. Audio-visually. Merong isang lalaking almost hubad, half-naked, at gumagawa siya ng bust sculpture. Because luwad means clay. And he was a clay maker na gumagawa ng bust ng isang babae. So, in a way, his interpretation of it is about trans experience. That you are able to create your own body. And hindi ko yun in-expect na as someone na nagsulat ng isang tula na may ganong layer, na elevate niya At nabasa niya somehow yung utak ko because nagtugma din sa akin nung pinanood ko siya. And I was truly inspired by his work. And coincidentally, we were batchmates sa Cinemalaya. Nagtuloy-tuloy na rin yung love ko for film because of how inspired I am because of Francis's work. So doon na nagsimula yun.
Dustin, ikaw naman.
Ako siguro, nagsimula siya dahil yung nung bata ako, yung business ng family ko, nagpaparent ng VHS, video shop. So, madami akong napanood na films and doon nagsimula. Like, most of the films that came out around the 90s until probably early 2000s, I saw most of them. So, mahaba-haba din yung madami rin ako napanood talaga na films. Kasi at some point, pinapa-curate sa amin, is this something that we should get more copies of pag nag-shop kami for new videos sa
So, pinapanood mo?
Someone has to watch them. So, kahit around mga 12, 13 ako. Pero kasi nung nag-college ako, nagkaroon ako ng crisis na parang communications ako, pero na-feel ko na wala pa akong mako-communicate. Na, what do I communicate, di ba? Parang alam ko, bata ako. So, kagaya mo, Paul, naghanap ako ng sagot sa philosophy.
Wow!
Kaya philosophy major din ako.
I didn't know that!
Nag-philosophy ako. Naging favorite ko yung continental philosophy. Kaya yun yung influence talaga ng films ko na existential horror, ganyan, naghahanap ng meaning yung mga tao.
How would you differentiate a good movie from a not so written well movie? And ano yung mga genres usually? Paano yung napili yung sa inyo? Sir Dodo?
Ako, lifelong fan kasi ako ng horror. For a while nga, nag-iisip ako ng gagawin kong unang pelikula. Napaka-pretensyoso ko pa, kailangan kong gumawa ng seryosong pelikula, yung malalim, dahil nga galing ako from being a film critic.
Yeah.
Tapos, nakagawa na ako, akatapos lang ako ng script sa hindi, gusto kong gumawa ng horror. Tapos, kasi talaga siya even if pagbata ka, nagbabasa ka ng maraming iba-ibang genres. Pero doon talaga ako bumabagsak.
Bakit horror?
Ewan ko, parang for some reason, na-fascinate ako doon sa intent niya na manggulo ng sensibilities ng tao. Tapos eventually, nung tumanda-tanda na ako sa pagpipelikula, na-realize ko na ang dami mong masasabi within the horror genre na hindi mo pwede sabihin if you're doing something more straightforward. And I'm talking about political sentiments and protest.
Kumbaga medyo fiction kasi ang horror, so
Tsaka,
pwede mong i-communicate.
Yeah, tsaka it works mostly on metaphors and stuff. So parang ang dami mong pwedeng ikarga na mas tatama sa audience mo rather than if you did it na straight and literal.
Kayo po ay nag-shake, rattle, and roll extreme.
Oo. Pero actually, pinakaayaw ko talaga isulat yung horror. So, as much as possible, pag may nagpapasulat sa akin ng horror, nagno-no ako. Pero dahil kailangan ko ng pera, at kailangan ng magsulat ng horror for shake, rattle, and roll, so nagsulat ako. But then, sinabi mo may nabasa kasi ako recently na paper na sinulat ni Roland Tolentino, kung kilala niyo siya na film critic, na yung horror, reflection siya, ginagamit siya ng mga filmmakers para as a reflection sa nangyayari sa society ngayon. Diba? Parang, akala mo lang yung shake, rattle, and roll, akala halimbawa, yung isang episode na to, akala natin tungkol sa Puninaria na ang nagpapatakbo mga aswang pala. But actually, it talks about yung institution na magsaserve dapat sa'yo, ina-exploit ka. Diba? May mga ganung reason behind it. Pero going back to your question, mas rom-com kasi ako. Ako yung mas nasa mainstream na sinusulat.
Hopeless romantic ba kayo kaya?
Pero hindi, kasi yun lang yung madaling ibenta. Yun yung hinahanap ng mga producers. Kasi sa amin yata apat ako yung pinaka-mainstream kasi mas gusto ng producer na...
Pero hindi ba parang
rom-com.
sinasabi nila din na meron ding certain template ang rom-com ng mga Pilipino? Ano yun? May formula ba yun?
May tinatawag kasi silang, although hindi parang in a good way, ito sinasabi ng Star Cinema rom-com. Na alam mong feel good siya, na happy ending talaga siya. Tapos meron kang syempre, lahat ng trope, meet cute, cat dog, tapos meron kang montage na may magandang music, soundtrack, tapos may grand gesture, tapos ganon. Pero sa ngayon kasi, dahil ang dami ng content na napapanood at ang dami ng platform and all, kailangan mag-elevate na rin yung pagiging rom-com mo, na hindi lang siya basta rom-com na, napanood na namin to, ilang beses na to, parang alam na namin mga yan, naging predictable. Kailangan mag-rom-com ka na meron kang sinasabi. meron kang theme, meron kang statement na meron kang social commentary. So, yun yung challenge.
Dustin, ikaw nag-horror ka.
Yeah,
Meron bang meron bang parang medyo corny na horror? I mean, iniisip ko kasi yung proseso ninyo into thinking about something na hindi magmumukhang corny sa audience. Di ba? Parang challenge yun eh. Bilang isang manunulat.
Very fortunate ako na ang nakatrabaho kong director for Strange Frequencies, Kerwin Go, na medyo edgy rin yung approach niya na basically, nung pinag-uusapan namin, we wanted to create not just a horror but also parang social satire nung nangyayari ngayon na medyo cloud chasing, tapos fame-hungry yung mga tao because of the platforms that are available to us. So we wanted to turn the horror, not just, hindi lang siya nanggagaling sa supernatural being, kung hindi yung horror ng society. So, the concept really is that it's supposed to be a social horror where what's scary is not just the monsters, but the people. How we react to these trends and how we become monsters ourselves na kahit against na sa safety natin, kahit against na sa ating, in our best interest, nangunguna pa rin yung ambisyon ng mga tao. So, that's what the film was about. Basically, we take the trend to its logical extreme. Tapos, yun, papakita namin, kung nag-continue to, pag nagpatuloy itong ganitong trend, dito tayo papunta.
We've covered so much, but we're hitting pause for now. Stay tuned for the second part of this episode. More stories, inspirations, and insights coming your way, only here on Behind the Reel. Cheers!
Because of the generation's short attention span. You can't practice it much because mahal gumawa ng pelikula.
So kung may susunod na producer para sa'yo, mag-practice
It's always
na.
a privilege.
Yes.
We're going to look for people who want to make great films regardless of commercial outcome.
Kaya ang dami ko nang naririnig at nababasa na ay hindi na kami nanonood ng Pinoy na pelikula kasi
Which is
feeling
really sad.
Dahil
In and of itself, that's the end game to write.
We're not here to please, but we are here to make our mark.